Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'm back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club and I'm using the 2019 December kits for this. And I'm going to start with this really pretty star paper. It's got this gorgeous metallic gold coppery foiling on it and it's so pretty. And I think I'm going to use this paper as my background. I think this one's from Heidi Swapp and it's kind of a gray color, really light gray with some circular designs on it. And I noticed that there was some stars on this crate paper chipboard sheet that I'm going to use, and that's just where I'm going to start. All I know at this point is that I want to fussy cut out these stars. So yeah, more fussy cutting. I did lots of fussy cutting with that wreath last week, and I'm going to fussy cut out almost all of the full stars on this paper. I like fussy cutting. I know I've said that a lot, but these are pretty easy, and these didn't take long at all because stars are pretty easy shape to cut. So I'm going to start there and then think about how I'm going to arrange these on my background. I kind of had an idea going, so off camera I played around and I chose this picture, a cute selfie of me and my daughter, and then I kind of want to just do a big chunk of stars on the side. And I also picked out a couple of the stars from, there's a whole pack of, it's not vellum, but it's not paper. I'm not quite sure what kind of paper it is. They kind of remind me of a type of vellum, but I'm going to pick a couple of those also and then just kind of go from there. And so I'm going to do mixed media on the background behind the stars. So I'm going to start with some white gesso, and I have been using this container of white gesso of mine for so long. It is about empty, but there's still some in there. So I'm going to use it until it is completely dried up. So all I'm doing is kind of smudging it on the background using a palette knife, using my hands. I just want to kind of white out the area where the stars are going to go, and I let that dry. And then I'm going to go over the white gesso with some clear gesso. And this is a different brand. I know I talked about this in my previous videos where I've used the Lindy's magical powders that we get in the color kit on top of the Liquitex gesso, and it tends to dry really light. And so this time I used the white gesso first and then added the clear gesso on top of it. And I'm going to see if that works a little bit better today. Now, I did want to add some texture on the background before I got going with the color here. So I pulled out the stencil from the color kit that we get this month, and it's also stars. So I'm just going to use some molding paste or modeling paste with my palette knife and just scrape some over the stencil to create some really fun and pretty dimensional stars. And it's kind of hard to see here, but when I get finished, I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. But this is just basically going to create some fun raised texture to go behind where all the stars are going to go, and you're going to be able to see this kind of in between and around the edges. And yeah, it's just meant to be kind of a detail and something to just add some interest to the background. And modeling paste is really fun to use. It does make a mess a little bit here. You do have to rinse your stencil off pretty quickly when you're done, but it creates the most awesome texture. You can kind of see there. It's really bumpy and rough when you touch it, and it reacts really cool when you add color on top of it. All right, so I'm going to go with a bluish aqua color on the background, and I'm going to mix and match a couple of different of the Lindy's products. This color we get this month, and look, it's blue, but it's got some different colors in it. When you first spritz it with water, when I spritzed it here, I saw a little streak of pink and a little streak of yellow in with the blue. It's really cool how those powders are just that, magical. And that's, I figured out, that's why they call them magical, because you never know what pretty colors you're going to get when you activate it with water. So I'm mixing and matching a couple of different colors here. The very first color that I used is the blue that we get in this month's kit, and it's called Jana's Jade. And then I mixed it with, what color did I mix it with? Oh, I don't have it in front of me. I put it up. No, I didn't. Here it is right here. Tilt-A-Wheel Teal, and we got that a few months ago. And then I'm also using a couple of sprays. I'm using the Tiffany Lou Blue and the Mad Hatter Mint, which is kind of a greenish color. And I'm just blending all of these together to create a really pretty, I would say more of an aqua color. There are a couple of the stars that I'm going to use that are this color. And so I thought, since there's all kinds of pink and golden colors and that mustard yellow and kind of a deep teal, that I would put a brighter color on the background and go with the lighter aqua colors. So all I'm doing is mixing and matching, spritzing with water, using my brush, tilting the paper all different directions, and just kind of letting it run and blend and do its thing. I just kind of want to do what I call a color wash on the background. So just basically a big splotch of this color. And yeah, I'm having to be careful with the water though, because this is a piece of pattern paper and it is definitely not meant to hold a bunch of water. And the more I add to it, the flimsier it gets. And the gesso plays a huge part in that. That is why if you're going to use this much water on some paper, especially pattern paper, you definitely want to add gesso first, because it's going to create a barrier between all the liquid and the paper, and it's going to allow the colors to kind of run and blend. And you can kind of see here what I'm going for with this really pretty light aqua color. And I found that the two gessos mixed together did work a little bit better. The colors still dried a lot lighter than I wanted, but I think in the end it worked out perfectly. And it's all an experiment. I know I say that a lot, but it really is. You never know what you're going to wind up with, and just keep going with it. Here I decided to try, this didn't work out like I thought either. I love using gelatos, and I thought that I would add in a couple of those here and there. I've got kind of a turquoise color and then more of like a greenish aqua color. And I tried to pull in a little bit of a darker blue, but they just weren't the right colors. And in this instance, it didn't really work like I was hoping, but that's okay, because a lot of this color, or a lot of this watercolor on the background, it is going to get covered up, and I knew that from the beginning, because I want it to show around and through all of those stars. And the stars are going to take up a big chunk of this paper. So yeah, I just kind of want it to be secondary to all the stars. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. I worked on that long enough. Now what I'm going to do is pick out all the stars that I have here that are really metallic. Some of them have just a little bit of metallic. These are very metallic, and I'm going to kind of add a little bit of white gesso on top of these, just smudge it with my hand, and this is just going to kind of make the shiny gold more of a matte gold. It's just going to dull it just a little bit, and you can kind of see the difference. I'm going to hold one up of each. You can kind of see there how it just kind of dulls the shine a little bit, and it makes it just not as brassy. Sometimes I like it brassy, and sometimes I like it a little bit on the dull side. So I'm going to dull it up here and just make it a little more on the matte finish. And I actually did that with all of the stars, and you're definitely still going to be able to see the shine. You can still see how they're shiny there. They're just not as shiny. So that's a trick if you want to keep something shiny gold, but just make it a little less shiny. Just smudge some gesso on it. All right, so I'm adding some tissue paper and some adhesive foam behind my photo there. And sorry about the glare on my picture. I didn't even notice that, so I'm going to change it and move it in just a second. But I'm going to start to work in all the stars again and kind of place them basically in this big giant star cluster over here to the left of the picture. And I printed my picture in color because I thought it had a lot of nice neutrals, some lights and darks in the picture, and it just complemented the stars and the colors of the stars nicely, I thought. So I'm going to do most of the stars on the left, a few of the stars are going to be on the right, overlapping that open space to the right of my daughter's head there. So that is something to think about when you're taking your pictures. If you have a chance to think about it, it's always nice to leave a little open space somewhere on the picture if you want to overlap things on top of it, like this picture here. you know, I'm running off the page pretty much on the left, and then she's up close to me, and then there's all this open space on the right. Well, that's like the perfect area to put this star, because there's really nothing important there. And you don't have to do that. I know a lot of people don't like to overlap things on their pictures, and that is totally a preference. If I can and it allows and it looks right, I definitely like to do it. So in this instance, I felt like it worked because, you know, nobody's head is covered up. You can see the picture clearly, but it just kind of looks like it's encompassed in all of these stars, and it's that's kind of the look that I was going for. So all I did there is, you saw me add some thread, and I used the darker teal color, and then I'm going to start to glue down some stars here. I don't want to move them again. I did add some foam, some little pieces of adhesive foam behind lots of the stars. So some of them are going to be glued completely down to the background, and then some of them are going to be popped up off the page. And that's just a great way to add some dimension. All right, so that's pretty much the basis of the layout. Now I'm going to work on embellishments. So these kits have a lot of winter related things, and I happen to live in Florida, where we get a little bit of cold weather, but I would hardly call it a full-blown winter. So I am trying to not focus on the winter bits on this layout. So I went through everything and picked out some of the more generic phrases or things that could work with this cute little selfie. So again, I picked out that little together sticker from that pretty little studio little sticker sheet. I'm going to use the title "Stay Cozy" because we were just cozying up on the couch. And again, it's that matte kind of coppery metallic gold, so that's perfect. And then I've also used the puffy stars from that thicker sheet. These are some of the exclusive stickers from Hip Kit, and I'm going to use more stars that I found on that sticker sheet. And there are a couple little cute animals that I wanted to use, and they are wintry. Like this cute little bird here has a little, I think he has a winter hat on, and then that little, I think it's a fox, I can't remember. I'm going to stick it to the left of the picture there, kind of tuck it behind that pink star, and he does look kind of wintry. And this picture was actually taken in January, but it was not what I would call winter, but I'm going to go with it anyway because it's cute and I think it looks cute right where it is. And so we're going to go for it. And I like that it's white. I wanted to stick with lighter things here. I'm going to use that little sticker that says family time, and then I'm going to use that little pink and white bow sticker. I'm going to raise those up with some adhesive foam also, just to create some dimension right down there at the bottom. And I am going to make sure that the title has glue behind it, because anytime you use gesso, things tend to not want to stick to it. So always add glue, even if it's a sticker, add glue anyway. So I thought I would lighten up the stars since most of those colors are more on the darker side, and I felt like these chipboard stars were perfect for that. They just kind of added a little bit of light to the star cluster, and these are the crepe paper chipboard stars. I used all of those on this page. And I'm liking how this is turning out. I mean, stars really have nothing to do with staying cozy, but I just like the way it looked. And you know, sometimes it doesn't have to make sense. You just have to like it and be happy with it, and I am. I think this turned out really cute, and the colors are definitely muted, definitely different than my favorite type of summer colors, but I think it is fun to do something different and work with colors that are out of your comfort zone, and I absolutely love how this turned out. I added my journaling, and here I'm using some of that gold glitter spray from Jen Hadfield that we got in the November kits. But anyway, that's it. I added the date. That's the final layout. I love how this looks. I love how it turned out. I love using stars on top of a background that had circles. And then I added a couple little wintry animals, and I think it turned out really cute. Here are all the close-ups. You can see all the different dimensions and textures with the adhesive foam, and then all the modeling paste stars and the thread, all of that good stuff. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it gave you some ideas to try. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in my next video.